Hey everybody, welcome to MuscleTech Uncensored. I'm your host Ron Harrison, and today we are joined once again by one of the realest men in the sport, IFBB Pro, King Kamali. We're going to be talking about all three Arnold Classics with the King. Last time you were here, King, was just before the first of three Arnold shows, Arnold, Ohio, and we made some, not so much predictions, but we went over the lineup. First of all, did things shake out pretty much the way you thought they would in Ohio?
Pretty much, yeah. You know, I was expecting Samson to come in almost exactly the way he did, and Hadi I was not expecting that from Hadi. I don't think anybody was expecting that from Hadi, but yeah, pretty much went down like I thought it would.
Yeah, so that's the first thing I want to talk about. That was definitely a better Hadi than we had just seen at the Olympia a few months before.
Right.
I think that Hadi would have beaten that Derek. Do you think so?
Yes, 100%.
Now, you've obviously followed Hadi his entire career. Was that the best Hadi you've ever seen or close to it? Where would you rate that?
Yeah, I think that was the best. If you're talking about just from the pure aspect of conditioning, no, I think Vancouver was his best. But this was the best complete package from Hadi.
Yeah, I'm just curious. How much bigger do you think he is now than he was 2019 Vancouver?
You know, it's not necessarily how much bigger, it's the improvements. Once he hooked up with Hani, Hani's specialty is he kind of balances out. What Hani does is he looks at the physique, he analyzes it and says, okay, there's a front double bicep. We need to add this here to make the front double bicep better. This is the side tricep. We need to add a little bit more here or take away a little bit more here to make that. So that's what Hani does, which is a very smart thing to do with the athletes. Now, Hani's also being handed the most genetically gifted men on the planet. So let's put that into the equation too. Yeah. But that is his specialty. I don't take anything away from Hani. These guys are all improving under him, and that's an excellent thing that he does.
Yeah. Do you think it was a gamble for him to do that show? You know, he could have lost. I mean, I doubt it. It was a slim chance, but had he lost that show to Samson, or I guess who else would have beat him there, but would that have lowered his stock, lowered his value, made it a little tougher in the fans' eyes for him to ever get his title back?
100%. But it was a calculated risk, and he had to do it. I don't think he had a choice, man. I don't think he had a choice. I mean, he had to come back strong, or you know how fickle these fans are in bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, Phil Heath, you know, and then lost, and nobody cares anymore.
Right.
You know, so it's very fickle. But listen, we're going to get into it. You know, man, I know you, Ron, you know me. We're not going to bullshit here. We're going to get into it. I think it's a lot closer than people think it is. I think Sam is just chomping at the heels. He's right there.
Yeah. Condition-wise, I thought he improved a little bit in the 2 weeks between the shows, but did you think it was even close in Ohio when Samson was a little bit blurrier, a little bit softer?
It's hard to say because Samson, you're comparing apples and oranges. And I listened to Tyler's explanation afterwards and what he had to say. And I only agree with like 75% of what Tyler was saying. Okay, I don't 100% agree. Why? Because it's a subjective sport. Ron, you like a certain look. I like a certain look. Okay, Jay Cutler likes a certain look. Ronnie Coleman likes a certain look. We all like certain different looks. For me, it'll always come down to conditioning. Will always reign supreme because that's the way I was doing it. That's the way I was taught to do it. That's how the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, that's what I was seeing and coming up with. Look, for me, Samson leaving Milos was that it had good aspects and bad aspects. I don't like the way he did it. Okay, I think the way Samson approached leaving Milos was a really shitty way of doing it. Jay did it with Chris Aceto the correct way. He said to Chris, "Thank you. We came a long way together. I love you to death, man, but I want to try something else." What did Aceto do? Go for it, brother. God bless you. Good luck. You don't go on fucking social media and say, I'm going to the hospital. I feel sick. No, what is that? What is that? You don't do that. Yeah. But making that change, I think we all knew, we all wanted that look. The pulling the insulin out and drying out look. Now, I spoke to Milos afterwards, and Milos has receipts. He has the receipts. He just doesn't want to do it because he's a nice guy. He didn't ask for insulin. He was not telling. He actually pulled that out 6 weeks out.
Oh.
Yes. He's that out 6 weeks out. I don't know if Samson was doing anything on him by himself or anything, but whatever. That's hindsight's 2020. That's neither here nor there. Let's put that aside. The look that Samson brought to the Arnold Classic UK, I think, Ron, the back shots I would have given to Samson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you just got to look at. You have to look at the show the way it was. Did Hadi come back improved? Yes. Was it the best look he ever had? Yes. Best overall look? Yes. But Samson was right there chomping. I don't agree with Tyler saying that it was an open and shut case. It was not open and shut. Okay, we all did. We also have to come in and put into the fact symmetry, put into the fact posing. You have to put there's a million different things you have to put into the fact. But did he beat him? Yes, I think Hadi still should have won.
Yeah. I mean, structurally, Samson, he's got a much better structure. He's 6 foot tall. He's got shoulders a mile wide, tiny little waist, flaring thighs. He's got that perfect X frame, which I don't know if Hadi's like 5'4", 5'5". It's hard to have that on a much shorter, stockier, more compact frame. So, yeah, I prefer Samson's physique. I have no problem with Hadi beating him, but yeah, I'm with you. It's conditions one thing. It's only one factor. Like, Milos #bodybuilding always says it's a total package.
It sets up for the Olympia, right?
Yeah, I mean,
getting more and more. I'm really, really excited to see what Nick looks like at the New York Pro. I'm excited to see what Andrew looks like at the Dubai Pro. These are all really. I'm excited to see what Ramy looks like. I've seen the recent pictures of Ramy. He's starting to come out a little bit, so it's going to be a really exciting Olympia.
Yeah, always is. So back up to Ohio. The biggest surprise for me was Rafael Brandao, who had just started working with Neil Hill fairly recently. And we hadn't seen Rafael in well over a year. Didn't know exactly what he was going to bring to the stage. He took time off to get bigger. And we've all seen that go one of two ways.
Right.
Better or worse. This was much better because that was my one knock on Rafael was I love the guy's shape, structure, doesn't have any weak body parts. He's just not big enough. And he held his own, I thought, in a lot of the poses with Samson and with Hadi, who are, Samson's 300 pounds. Hadi, whatever he is, 230, 240 he's stacked. But Rafael, for the first time, mass-wise, I didn't see him lagging by much. Did you?
No, he's got a pretty physique. His structure is like a smaller version of Dennis Wolf. He's got that, it's got that same look, that same high lats, the nice sweepy quads, all that stuff. He's not Dennis Wolf, but it's Dennis Wolf-ish.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree with you. He finally came. He put the size on. Yeah, I mean, listen. Once in a while, you hook up with a guru or a coach that leads you and puts you in the right direction. And it looks like Neil put Rafael in the right direction.
Yeah, I was excited. We'll get to him in Brazil a little while, but the fourth place was another real big surprise because John De La Rosa, he had been away for a while. He came back last year after well over, I think it was maybe 2 years away from the stage. He'd gone through all kinds of stuff, divorce, moving from New York to Florida. Yeah, he had a rough time. But last year we saw him come back 2 shows in a row, second to Justin Shire in Chicago, second to Hunter Labrada in Tampa. And I thought he looked really good last year, but the pop wasn't there. The fullness wasn't there. He seemed like he wasn't quite as big and impressive as he had been. When I saw him on stage in Ohio, I was like, wow, that's the Jonathan I've kind of been waiting to see for a very, very long time now, working with a new, I think it was since last year, Patrick Tour did a hell of a job with him, like he did with Keon Pearson and other guys. But were you surprised at how good Jonathan looked?
I wasn't really surprised. I was happy. I was happy to see him like it because with all the douchebags in the IFBB, John is one of the good guys. Yeah, he is. I know one person who doesn't like John De La Rosa. He's a really, really good guy. If you spend 5 minutes talking to him, you can't help but liking the guy. So, I was really happy for him. And guess what? I had him winning the back double and the back lat spread. I had him beating Hadi. Wow. I did. I think that he looked better in the back shots than Hadi did. So he held his own. He definitely held his own. It was the best John I've ever seen. Yes.
Yeah. I also feel that way about James Hollingshead from UK. He's had his ups and downs. He's been hit or miss. Some shows he's been flat. Sometimes he's been spilled over. I've never really seen him put it together, is what I'm trying to get at. Even when he's won shows, I was like, there's something else I wanted to see. This was probably, I'll say definitely, this was the best Hollingshead I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he made it well known that he wasn't really working with Milos anymore. He declared himself uncoachable, which who does that? That takes a lot of, you got to be an honest person to admit that. And I was very happy for him because top 5 at the Arnold, he's never done that before.
Yeah, it was the best version of him too at the Arnold. You know what? These guys are starting to finally come around. You know, they're starting to finally hit their peaks. I think if there's one thing that is causing this effect of people coming in shape now, I think it's Hottie.
Wow.
Hottie, people come in shape, just like Dexter made us all come in shape. You knew that if Dexter was in the show, you're like, God damn it. Extra hour cardio. I'm doing whatever I need to do to get just a little bit harder because that's what Dexter, he made you come in harder. I think Hottie's doing the same thing for these guys.
Yeah, no, that's a good point because I think once they knew Hottie was in the show, I'm sure in the back of their mind, how can you not work harder knowing you're up against Mr. Olympia now?
Right.
And this guy's out for blood. He's not going back to Iran without the win.
Right.
So,
right.
Another guy, local guy, you know Akim Williams very well. Akim was the one guy who improved the most from Friday to Saturday. I thought he looked good Friday, but when he came out Saturday, I was like, wow. Whatever Cito did with him in those 24 hours, huge improvement. I think he went from like 6th in the first day on the score sheets to 3rd, but it wasn't enough to make up the difference in points. He still ended up in 6th overall. But wow, I'm very happy. Not surprised. We've seen him do well.
He was the surprise of the show for me. You know, like I said, I had De La Rosa winning the back shots. I had Akeem winning the side shots.
Yeah.
God, man, you can't get any thicker. He's got that Victor Richards thickness. Okay, put that aside. He from the side chest and the side tricep, the massive round thickness bulging of the chest, the hamstrings and the separation. Listen, man, Akeem is. And from the front, very impressive the second night. Absolutely. It's just that back. If he could, it's a big could. You know, everyone used to say, remember when everyone said if Nasser had a back, he could.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big if.
That is a big if. That's a back. That's like half your body.
I love Akeem. I think Akeem is like a combination of Orville, Burke, and Nimrod King. That's what he looks like to me.
Wow. You just dropped 2 names no one out there below the age of 40 will know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. I just did a 91 Olympia recap on my channel and talked about Nimrod King. And I had forgotten about Nimrod King. But you know what? He came up again because the Detroit Pro is coming up. It's probably going to be, this will probably air after that. But there was a Detroit Pro many years ago and Nimrod won it.
Yeah, and yeah, these kids out there, you kids out there listening to this, watch this, go Google Nimrod King.
Yeah.
A chest you've never seen in your life. He had a chest on top of a chest.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. So 2 weeks later, the gang all got back together in United Kingdom. Hottie had another one of those last-minute Willie or won't he get the visa things. I mean, you would know this better. Is it harder for an Iranian citizen? Is it Iranian or Iranian? How do you say it?
It's Iranian.
Iranian. Is it harder to get into the USA for them or UK?
It was 100% USA.
Oh, okay.
100%. But listen, it's all politics. They fuck with you. Listen, let's put all the bullshit aside. It all comes down to dollars and cents. That's what it comes down to. Yeah. If you have the money, and if you have the know-how, the clout, and you have the proper backers, you can get yourself there if you need to. I'm almost positive that this had to do a little bit with this, and then he got right in.
Sure. So again, he showed up. I think it was Thursday. He got in late because again, even with all the power and influence and everything, he still didn't have an easy time. He's had issues before where he got to the Olympia almost last minute, looked a little watery the first night, sharpened up for the second night, and it kind of cost him placings in the past. I had a feeling that was going to happen. That's pretty much what we saw. I did notice he sharpened up significantly because Hani's a master. Hani can fix problems, but nobody can fix all the problems of international flight, because it looked to me like he went. So he had gone back to Iran after Ohio.
Right.
Then it looked like he went back to Texas. Then he's got to go all the way back. That's a lot of flying for a guy.
It is. It is. It's a lot of flying, but listen. This might be a little weird analogy, but I'll say it anyway. And I hope the Iranians don't get mad at me. They always fucking jump on my case. It's like going to Africa and going to Kenya and giving tennis shoes to someone who's been running his whole fucking life on his bare feet. Okay, you give them the tennis shoes and they'll be like, okay, I can run probably for 6 days straight now with this. Hadi he's a mountain guy. He's a goat herding mountain guy. Okay, to him it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's almost like my friend, she's a wellness pro, Amanda Burnett. She used to run fucking triathlons. So carb depletion and it's nothing to her. Like I call her up the last week during depletion and sodium loading when we're all suffering. She's like, yeah, I'm fine. It's not a big deal. I'm like, wow, used to it. It's not, don't worry about it. And he's got, like you said, he's got Hani to fix him in the last minute. It's not a big deal for him. He can do it over and over again.
Yeah, and he did. So I mean, I thought it was closer this time. I thought, everyone, the big question, because Samson, we knew the day after the Arnold Ohio, we knew Samson and Milos were not working together. I think Milos made the post the day after the Arnold. So
right.
It didn't come from Samson for a few more days. But now we're all wondering. And he said he didn't leave us in suspense. He let us know, I don't have another coach yet. My wife, Marlena, who's helped me peak for a few shows before successfully, she's going to guide me through this. She knows my body. And, a lot of people who didn't know that, or even when they heard that, they're sort of rolling their eyes like, oh, no, his wife, what the hell? How horrible is he going to look? He looked better to me in Ohio. I'm sorry, in the UK. I'm sure it was a little different lighting setup and all that, but he looked He looked tighter to me. And to me, it was much closer. I don't know if the scores reflected it, but it was much closer. I think he even got a first place vote. Right. In UK, where Hadi got a perfect score in Ohio. How much closer did you see it between Samson and Hadi at the UK show?
It was exactly what you just said. I totally agree with what you just said. It was closer, and the look. Listen, he was a lot fuller in Ohio. Yeah. In UK, he was more streamlined. So he's got to find that medium somewhere in the middle, right there, and with control. See, look. I've said this 1,000 times. Listen, kids. Listen. I'm going to say midsection. The midsection. That's where Hadi is killing everybody. And that's where Derek was there with him. Only on the side shots. In the front, again, Hadi wins. Why? He wins the abdominal thigh shot every time. He wins the most muscular shot. Why? Because of his midsection. So all you pros out there who are still competing on the circuit, work on your midsection. If you can finish off the last two poses, abdominal thigh and most muscular, and win those two, you're going to go and jump up a couple of spots. Trust me. It's Why did he look better? I'd say 90% because he was controlling his stomach a lot more. In Ohio, he was not controlling his stomach. Yeah. In UK, he was controlling his stomach. It's still not there, but it was a lot better.
Okay, so Samson, to me, it is a control issue, which he's doing better at, but it seems like there's not much development in his abdominals. Hadi has like those bricks. They pop out like 3 inches away from his body. Samson, for a big guy who's got so much thick, dense muscle everywhere, it's odd that his abs look so shallow in comparison.
Yes, totally agree. Who was that guy's name? They called him Abzilla. He was from Lebanon.
Hamdullah Akutlu?
No, not Hamdullah.
No, Hamid Haidar.
Hamid Haidar,
yeah.
Samson, contact Hamid Haidar, okay? Bring him into wherever you are, train together for a week, and find out how to train the abdominals without getting a big fucking waist. You do that and you're there.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. That was Hamdullah's from Turkey, so I didn't mean to insult all the Lebanese people out there. But, man, so, I don't want to make this all about Samson, the coach, but do you think it's very critical who he links up with for a coach? Do you think there's like one magical coach that could be his ticket to the Olympia?
I think he should stick with his wife.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I don't think, listen, he has everything. He all the knowledge from Milos. He understands. Listen, Milos' specialty, and Milos knows that I love him to death. We talk once a week, twice a week. We always talk to each other. Milos' specialty is putting on size.
Yeah.
He can really put on size on people. And then when it comes to contact prep, Milos is a guy who likes fullness. He wants his athletes to be full on stage. That could be a hit or it could be a miss.
Yeah.
Okay. It depends. Now he did the experimentation. That's the most important factor when it comes to bodybuilding, experimenting. You fuck up and then you're like, okay, I have nothing to lose. Let me try something different to see what happens. And if it works, then I do it a lot of times with my clients. I'm like, okay, it didn't work. Let's try this. Boom, it worked. We're going to stick with it. It worked. Whatever he did worked. Work on your abdominals, just like you just said. Make sure that you get a little bit more lumpy, a little bit more edged out, and more size on the back from the front and from the back. And he's there. He's Mr. Olympia.
There you go. I mean, if there's anyone with Olympia potential out there, other than Derek and Hadi, who've already won it, he's top of my list. And, obviously he was third place. I'm not sounding like a brain surgeon by saying that, but still. And let's give Milos some credit, man. He put 40 pounds of muscle on that guy. Yeah,
Milos is one of the best gurus and coaches in the world, without a question. Yeah. You just have to find someone who matches with your personality, someone who matches. Chad's like that. Chad will work with you for a little while. Then if he doesn't like you, he's like, I don't think it's working out. You do your thing. I think that's a proper way of doing it. I turn down a bunch of people. I'd give money once in a while, then I have to return it and say, I can't work with you. One of my closest friends right now, and she is a smoking hot, absolutely gorgeous, beautiful girl inside and out. Her name is Amanda Macy. She's a bikini pro. We're really, really tight, really, really good friends. I would never coach her. Never. And I said that it's because she's just not, she is one of those, if I eat a Tic Tac, I got to do an extra 5 minutes of cardio. I can't work with someone like that. I can't. I have to be the boss. I'm alpha. If I tell you to go drink wolf piss, just say how much. Okay? That's the kind of person that I like working with. But listen, I stick with your wife, Samson. Stick with your wife. You know what to do. Fix your abs, control it, more conditioning, and fix your back, and you're Mr. Olympia.
Right on. So moving on. So I think Chris Aceto, that was the first prep that he did with Akeem, I believe, for the Ohio Arnold. And they must have learned something critical between Friday and Saturday nights that they applied toward the show 2 weeks later, because Akeem looked great this time. And this time he jumps up all the way to third place. And this is, if it's not the best Akeem I've ever seen, it's the best Akeem I've seen in years and years. So props to these two, Chris and Akeem.
Yes. And Chris, as we all know, Chris admits this too. He's conservative. He doesn't push it. If he sticks to a certain protocol and he doesn't want to go overboard. A lot of people go overboard. He doesn't do that. And I think he did exactly what I just said a couple minutes ago. They said, okay, let's try something else. Let's try something different. And it worked. So do it again.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's had a few coaches, Akeem. He's probably been with 4 or 5 coaches since I've known him, but this seems to be a good partnership. And I'm really anxious to see what else they have in store, because he's probably still going to have to do another show or two to get enough points, or hopefully even win a show to get the Olympics. Yeah. I know he wants to get back because he missed it last year. He had shoulder surgery and everything. Yeah. So the rest of the top 5 was pretty similar. Jonathan De La Rosa was in 4th again. James Hollingshead in 5th again. Very, very similar. So let's move on to the very last Arnold. We just had it over the weekend. Was it the last week or the weekend before? Gosh, I'm losing track of time. Yeah, it was just happened in South America, Brazil, Sao Paulo. So Rafael skips UK because obviously he's Brazilian. Fans wanted to do that show. I don't know if he was worried that hitting all 3 of those in a row might hurt his chances of looking his best in Brazil. And I don't know,
or he knew he was going to get 3rd again.
yeah, that's true. I mean, it's the same. He's not beating Hadi. He's not beating Samson. He's not there yet. So kind of a controversial win because Tonio looked really good, but Rafael, he did sort of fade a little bit. Condition was down. If I'm going to throw out a number, like 15%. Definitely his glutes were softened up. Hams were softened up. Still looked awesome from the front side. But he was having a tough time with Tonio. Tonio beat him in the back shots for sure, and he was hanging pretty close with him. How did you see that matchup between Tonio and Rafael?
Exactly like you just said. Word for word like you just said.
Oh,
You know, I like that. I like Tonio. I think he's great. I think he brought it. I like his personality on stage and stuff like that. You know, but it's you're dealing with a guy, a Brazilian competing in Brazil, and you know the Brazilian fans, man.
Well, they would have torn that roof off. There would have been bloodshed. There would have been riots if he had lost.
It's like if the athletes could. Can you imagine the pro show in Iran? Come on.
How about a pro show in Iran where Hadi got second? Can you imagine that?
Hey man, don't forget what I said a long time ago, man. I said there are a bunch of hotties running around in Iran. I'm telling you, just wait.
Well,
They'll come out of the woodwork.
Well, I believe you because I mean we saw it happen with Egypt over a series of a few years. It's Brazil. The same thing has happened over the past few years. You've always said you've been saying that for years. I know you have. Yeah, is that your dog?
I mean, look at Bruce.
Yeah, Baruz. I mean, Baruz, the guy's having a hell of a time trying to get competing anywhere, getting visas. He needs help with that situation.
A better manager. That's what I think.
Well, maybe so. But yeah, like I said, Tonio was pushing him. There was a lot of people who saw Tonio. They had him for the win, purely on condition, and he's got a prettier physique. Rafael's got a very classic look to him as well, but Tonio's just got that. I hate to compare people to Dexter because there was only one Dexter, but you can't help but be reminded of Dexter in a lot of those Tonio Burton shots.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he looks great. I think we're pushing it if we say Dexter, but I understand where you're going with that analogy. Definitely. I like him. He's hard. He pays his dues. He looks like he pays his dues and he suffers. And you know me, if you suffer, you got my King Kamali vote.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, he beat Rafael on condition. He beat him on the back shots. If you want to make the argument, Rafael's taller, wider, structure, this and that. I didn't scream and cry when Rafael beat him. So it is what it is.
Let's put it this way, Ron. I'm going to say something. I think you and I will read in between the lines. If it was down to these two at the New York Pro, it might be a situation. Yeah,
that's true. That's all we're going to say about that. So
leave it at that.
This was a very exciting pro debut for the Russian guy from Brazil. I call him Kid because he's in his 20s still. They call him Good Vito. Good Vito. Vitaly Ogolnikov. On the score sheet, his last name was Good Vito, so he might have legally changed it. He might have. I don't know.
We got a Good Vito and we have a Horse MD. Come on.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it.
We need a bad Vito. But I was waiting to see. I'd never seen anything except his when he won his pro qualifier. He didn't look condition wise. I was not impressed. He was like 80% condition, what he should have been. I know he's got a great sponsorship deal and he's got 1 million fans. So I wondered, is this going to be one of those guys who's like a huge fan favorite, an Instagram superstar, but it's not going to translate on stage. He's not going to wow anybody. I was pretty impressed with the kid. Mass wise, everything. We already knew what he looked like. He's a massive guy. I thought he was a lot taller too. Apparently he's like 5'6" or 5'7", like 240.
One of the short ones.
Yeah, but he's thick as hell. Huge arms, huge legs. Still a very flat midsection. He's pulling a vacuum on his frontal bicep. Two things that I thought hurt him. The tan was kind of weird looking. I don't know if it looked almost like dream tan. And his back shots, back thickness, as thick as he is everywhere else, he needs a lot more back thickness before he's going to make any trouble at the Olympia level.
Yes.
But what do you think about this kid for a pro debut?
Good. It's almost I expected exactly what I saw. The color is the first thing that I noticed too. It's shitty. It looked like it was like a mismatch. It looked like he looked like a burn victim.
Wow.
Yes, Good Vito. If you listen to us right now, listen. Fix your color, bro. That's number two. Yes, you definitely the back. He needs to work on the thickness, as thick as he is. I think this was a great show for him for a different reason, though. I think he was way too cocky going into the show. He was way too cocky at the athletes, meet the athletes before the show when everybody got on stage and he was showing off his legs. And they said, come on, man, take one step back, brother. One step up. You're there. You're young. You're doing fantastic. Let your body do the talking. Don't do the talking right now until you prove yourself first. So I think he kind of came down to earth a little bit. And Tonio showed him what conditioning is really all about with the deep separation and all that stuff. But he's definitely like Nick Walker-ish. Got that Nick Walker-ish potential.
Yeah. He reminds me also of Jeff Long Remember Jeff Long? There's two Jeff Longs. The white. Talk about the white Jeff Long here.
Yeah,
very thick. Yeah, I mean they're both great. But yeah, yeah, he's got so Vito's a kid. He's just getting started. I hope he's doing this Detroit, which will be past tense by the time this airs. But I hope he shuts it down after that. Goes back to work in the gym on his back. That's the one thing he really needs. And I think 2025 probably hit something like that show again, then New York Pro, and he'd be golden. So let's wait and see what happens with him. Yep. Fourth place in the show was another very well-known guy in Brazil, William Martins, another big, thick guy. I thought he looked pretty good. It was, shape and structure not as really pretty as the three guys that beat him, but he packs a ton of mass, and he did bring some really good condition. Thought it was a pretty good fourth place.
Yeah, it's your typical Brazilian, monster with not the great shape, but he brought it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and the last guy we'll talk about was fifth place because I never heard of him before. His name is Andre Carlau, and we were calling. We did a watch party on my channel. And we kept calling him Nathan because he reminded of his Nathan to Asher so much, both in the physique and the hair, the face.
The hair. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely.
The Brazilian Nathan to Asher, but very impressed with this kid. Size, shape, little waist. He was up against some bigger, better guys at this show, but he's on the way.
Definitely needs more battles. He needs to get on stage more. Into some more battles, and the judges will start to notice him a little bit more.
Yeah. So that was it. That's 3 Arnold Classic shows, and not to knock any other shows, but the fans love the fact that we watch all 3 Arnold Classic shows for free.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's 2 live streams for the live stream for Ohio, a live stream that was free. You just had to give your email so they can spam your email box for the UK show. And then this one was live on the YouTube channel for Muscle Contest. So props to them, man, because, I think a dedicated fan will spring for it. If you love bodybuilding, you'll pay 20, 30, $80 for the Olympia or something if you really want to. But if you want to grow the sport and get a lot of these sort of casual on the fence fans who just know it from Instagram, that's a hell of a way to do it. Let them watch a great pro show for free.
100%. And I think there's one more thing that I completely listen. We all love the NPC, and NPC to us is like our little brother or little sister. It's a part of all of us, and I don't like the rule that you can't videotape any NPC shows and stuff. I mean, seriously, it's 2024. It only helps the sport.
Yeah.
When people share, it just more people see it. I just think that's a little ridiculous, but we won't talk about that. I like the fact that it was free. I think right now the Arnold, with what he did at the Arnold Classic with the prize money and the whole shebang, I think now it puts pressure on Jake and Dan. So they got and Olympia, but I'm so glad it's back in Vegas, man. Because I called them. I was the first person to call Dan afterwards and say, put two tickets aside for me and my board. I'm coming to the Olympia this year, man. Back in Vegas.
Yeah, and I've never very few people have seen this venue. It's a brand new casino and all that, hotel, casino, everything. I think it just opened like within the last few months, didn't it?
Yeah.
The place they're having, I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't know the name of it.
Yeah.
That puts pressure on them to, the prize money. They already pointed out, because I don't want to throw them under the bus that way. They have all the divisions. They have 11 divisions that they have to pay out to. The Arnold's very selective. They got rid of the 212, women's bodybuilding, women's figure, and women's physique. So that's 4 divisions you have to pay out for. But still, $500,000 for first prize for the Arnold. This is my prediction, and you tell me if you agree or disagree. I think we're going to see all the top Olympia guys in both shows moving forward.
100%. 100%. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it's a game of dollars and cents. You're a professional athlete. You want to make money.
Yeah.
And that's a big chunk of change. Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. If, say, you're Derek Lunsford and you win your second Olympia this year, well, you just beat everybody in the world, all the other guys who are capable of beating you. Why wouldn't you chill out for a couple of weeks, get back on prep, and pick up another $500,000? Why? I would.
And I'm glad you brought up Derek's name. If Derek is listening to this, he's got the biggest target of all time. Because these guys, when it was Phil, you were like, well, you know, man, it's going to be very hard to beat him. When it was Ronnie, it was like, oh, it's impossible to beat him. When it was Lee Haney, there's about 6, 7 guys think that they can beat this guy.
Yeah.
And they're coming for him. They're coming for you, man. I'm telling you, they're coming for you. And it's going to be a hell of an Olympia, man. I think, you know, I went back and forth with Nick Walker. He was mad at me for a while for a stupid reason. But he thinks he genuinely from the bottom of his heart thinks he's better than Derek. He's like, I'm much better. I can beat this guy. So I'm like, hey, man, that's a great attitude to have. Back it up at the New York Pro, and we'll see what happens.
That, you know, when you say this is going to be an exciting Olympia, you're right, because in the Ronnie years, especially when Ronnie, the first few years, aside from Jay, I don't think there was anybody who realistically thought they had a chance in hell of beating that guy. Like, you know, when Dorian was winning, very few guys, I think, in their hearts of hearts thought they could really beat Dorian. But, you know, this isn't taking anything away from Derek, but I don't think it's that way anymore, where we have one dominant guy that everyone's sort of crestfallen, like, I can't.
Well, it might have lit a fire under his ass too, because listen, you, myself, and a lot of other people are coming out and saying, hey, if that hottie would have showed up, he would have beaten him. That gets to a guy after a while. Remember, he's Mr. Olympia, and he's thinking, and now that is embedded in his head. That's like a seed that's been planted in his head, that people are saying that guy is still better than you, even though you're Mr. Olympia. So that might be a little bit of fire in there too. Like I said, man, we have Ramy, we have
Samson, Andrew, Nick,
have Andrew Jacked,
Crezo. I mean, it's going to be hell,
man. So it's going to be a great show, and again, it's going to be. I'm so glad it's back in fucking Las Vegas, man.
Yeah, I mean, Orlando's cool too, but yeah, that's the place where the Olympia belongs. A real place where they had all the prize fights and all that. You know, I mean, it just has that aura about it.
I get messages from a lot of people from overseas and stuff saying, or when I do my Instagram lives, they'll come in and they'll be like, "Don't you think that Mr. Olympia should be international? Don't you think you should have it in Dubai?" Said, no, absolutely not. It should be in Las Vegas.
Yeah. You know, and I'm glad they're having the Dubai show and they're paying out some really good money, because that is a great location. But the Olympia, Vegas is just, I'd be very happy if they put it back there permanently, like it was for like 20 years running. Vegas, yeah. Vegas. You always knew that's where we were going to go.
Yeah. So, no, I agree. 100%.
Cool. Well, King, I thank you so much for taking the time. And as always, you pull no punches. The show is called Uncensored, and who's more uncensored than King Kamali? That's why I always love having you on, man. So thank you so much. Guys, thanks for watching MuscleTech Uncensored. This has been our review of all 3 Arnold Classic shows for 2024 with none other than King Kamali. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you again next time.
Peace.